Oh lord, this video is going to be much more controversial than I thought it would be. But let's get it. This was a really weird moment for Gohan. Let me set the tone of this video early. Given all of the events Gohan has been in prior to this moment, saying he doesn't like to fight or want to kill is completely out of character. Let me show you why. Whenever I hear people talk about Gohan's character, they always bring up this moment first. They either label him a pacifist, someone who hates violence and just wants to live a normal life, a child who suffered from PTSD, and so on. I've heard it all. You see, the problem with these interpretations, or any interpretation for that matter, is that they need to be backed by the material that is being used. Otherwise, it's just headcanon. Like, by all means, Gohan should have PTSD, but it wasn't shown at all. And in fact, all we've seen was anything far from it. Now, despite popular belief, there's nothing throughout the Dragon Ball manga to suggest that Gohan has some sort of issue with fighting or killing, especially when the main villain is threatening to kill all of your friends and family and later destroy the world. Now, I'm fine with the underlying narrative of Gohan not liking to fight or not wanting to kill or anything along those lines, but it has to be shown consistently. It can't just come up out of nowhere. Gohan can't just accept his father's wish to fight Cell and end him so he can bring peace back to the world, then randomly turn around and tell Cell that he doesn't want to kill him. Like, bro, that's some weird behavior. We know that early in Dragon Ball Z, Gohan's inability to fight was his fear. And since overcoming that in the Saiyan saga, he hadn't shown any reluctance to fight or kill up until he was face to face with Cell. My main issue with this is that Gohan shouldn't have a problem with fighting or killing Cell. His constant exposure to seeing his friends and family kill the bad guys or fight with the intent to kill out of necessity and practicality should have desensitized him to the idea of committing the act as well, which it did evidently. Gohan had witnessed both Piccolo and Krillin kill Cyberman, and even he killed a couple of Frieza's men on planet Namek. Their deaths were later confirmed in Daizenshu 2, which states verbatim that they were sent to hell in one blow. Now, the funny thing is, after killing those guys, Gohan sure didn't seem to show any sense of contrition after committing the act. More examples would be Gohan using lethal force in an attempt to kill Godo. He witnessed Vegeta wipe out the Ginyu Force. He used lethal force again in an attempt to kill Frieza twice. This obviously isn't a character that has issue with killing. Evidently, Gohan was predisposed to watching his friends and family kill or have the intent to kill the enemy out of necessity. He had taken part in doing so as well on numerous occasions. So please, I don't want to hear that Gohan didn't have a choice but to kill in those scenarios. He had more of a choice to reason with the enemy in these scenarios than he did against Cell, but he didn't, because that's not the type of person he is. Also, I'm not suggesting that Gohan should lean towards psychopathic behavior. I'm saying that it's entirely reasonable to expect that constantly being exposed to those situations should have led him to know what it is that he needed to do against Cell. Even if you want to use the argument that he didn't want to kill Cell, whether Gohan wanted to or not, his desire to kill him is irrelevant to doing so when it needs to be done. He didn't have to want to kill Cell in order to kill him with the understanding that it is necessary to do so. So even if he didn't want to kill Cell, that would mean that he didn't want to kill these guys, but he did because he knew it was necessary to do so. So trying to reason with this being after knowing the consequences of not killing him wouldn't make sense either. Again, I'm well aware that he states that he didn't want to get mad and lose control, but if killing the enemy or the bad guy out of necessity isn't something Gohan is foreign to, then why would he fear losing control in the act of killing one more bad guy out of necessity? Gohan had already been through this before. He never came across as a person who would want to reason with the enemy. From what we've seen up to this point, Gohan is usually the one to be on board with finishing off the opponent. So why would he completely change at the moment he's needed the most? This behavior isn't consistent with his previous behavior. This is why I deem this out of character. All this is artificial tension. I hope I made my position clear, because next part of the video I want to talk about something even more controversial: Gohan wanting to be a scholar. Now hold on before you start running to the comment section and hear me out. I'm not saying that Gohan doesn't like studying or that he doesn't want to become a scholar. Sure, he does. I'm just saying that this isn't something that he actually enjoys doing. Something about that never really sat well with me. I might be the only one to think this, but Gohan never really showed any genuine interest in studying. The last time we hear him talk about him wanting to become a scholar was when he was 4 years old, before he was trained by Piccolo and became accustomed to fighting. He rejects his mom's wish to studying after the Saiyan saga and insists on going to Namek to bring Piccolo back with the Namekian Dragon Balls. At this time, they didn't know that there would be any threats on Namek. They thought it was just a fun adventure to bring their comrades back to life. You could say that he felt guilty that Piccolo died and he wanted to be the one to bring him back, which is true, but that just shows you how much he values other things over being a scholar. During the 7 years of peace, we're told that Gohan has been studying and his mom finally wants him to go to a public school. At the very beginning of the Buu saga, we see that Gohan Gohan is finally going to a public school in Satan City, but it was clear that he had stopped crime a couple of times before in the city. And my boy already made a name for himself, being named the Golden Warrior. That's smooth, you feel me? Even when he was in his classes, he didn't show much interest in actually learning. He was more invested in helping stop crime and keeping his identity hidden than anything else. What this tells me is that even in times of peace, my boy can't help himself but fight crime. Even this was clear to Bulma. Also, notice how he enjoys himself more when he's the Great Saiyaman than when he's actually in school. All of these things really make you wonder how much of his wanting to become a scholar is his mom's influence and desire for him as compared to Gohan's own interest. Again, I'm not saying that Gohan doesn't actually want to be a scholar or anything like that. I'm just saying that he never really displayed any real passion or enjoyment in doing so as compared to fighting the bad guys, whether it's fighting space villains, real threats, or fighting criminals. And also, I'm not saying that he enjoys fighting on the level of Goku. I never really got this comparison. Goku is someone who dedicated his life to improving his martial arts and other techniques. All he wants to do is get stronger. I think of Gohan like how I think of Krillin in regards to fighting. They will fight the enemy or fight crime, but they won't dedicate their lives to improving their strength or techniques like other fighters. This is why we see Gohan become the Great Saiyaman and why Krillin became a police officer. It's just part of the nature. Okay, I'm done. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments and I'll catch you guys in the next one.